Horrible war. Would have never happened if I was president. And by the way, October 7th, Israel would have never happened. Iran was broke. They had no money for terrorists, for Hamas, for Hezbollah. We will restore peace through strength like we're supposed to. We're supposed to be strong and powerful, and you don't have to use it just because you have it. I rebuilt the entire military. You don't have to use it because we have it. Kill people all over the place. Horrible, horrible. Spend billions and billions of dollars doing things for other countries that hate you. They don't even want you there. We're going to rebuild our cities and become a beacon of hope, safety, beauty, better than ever before. We're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to work with Democrat mayors who are running in every instance, running them. Democrat mayors and many Democrat governors. And we're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job. We'll take over the horribly run capital of our country, Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it will become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or mask mandate. I will fully uphold our under siege Second Amendment. It is under siege like never before. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech rapidly. And I will do something that's very important to me, maybe more important to me than any other person in the world. I will secure our elections, because you know what happened in 2012. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. And we have a lot of checks and balances and a lot of things that they did, but we have a lot of checks and balances. But I'll tell you the best, we want to have a landslide that's too big to rig. You ever hear the expression? Too big to rig. There's a level at which they can't rig it, right? We got to get out and vote. We got to get out and vote. You got to November 5th. November 5th. It will be the most important day in the history of our country. That's where we are. That's where we are. You know, I used to talk in 2016, and I didn't have to do it in 2020 because we had the country in great shape, and then we went on to some incredible time. But I used to talk about 2016, that this is the most important election in the history of our country, and I meant it. That's nothing compared to what's happening now, because I didn't think we were going to lose our country. Now we're going to lose our country. And we had a bad border, but the bad border was like beautiful compared to what we have right now. We had a bad border, I fixed it. And I go out and make speeches. I say, I want to talk about the border. And people didn't really respond because I fixed it. I did such a good job on the border. I fixed it. Nobody wanted to hear about it. My people said, sir, nobody cares about the border. I said, what do you mean? I got elected on the border practically. I fixed it and made it so good that I couldn't even talk about it for 2020. But it didn't matter because I got millions more votes in 2020 than I got in 2016. People don't want to talk about that. Millions and millions. I got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country, and I got a bigger margin. You know, a lot of times a guy would either get elected or not get elected the second term, but they'd almost always get less votes. You know, you get bored with him. You get bored. You don't want him. You don't like him, but he could win. Like, if you look at Obama, he got far less votes. No, he got far less votes in the second election than he got in the first election. Far less. Millions fewer. I got many millions of votes more. It was unprecedented. The largest vote ever for a sitting president. And they say we lost. No, we didn't lose. We didn't lose. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. Most destructive. Think of it. And I used to say 5. I increased it to 10. I think I could go way beyond that. Think of it. You take the 10 worst ever, add them up. They're not as bad as Biden. So if you want to save America, get every common sense person you know, get them and register Republican. You got to register Republican and you'll vote, Mr. Chairman. Right? You got a great chairman. Thank you. Thank you. But look at the enthusiasm, Chairman. Look at the incredible enthusiasm we have. You know, they're going to get out. We're going to do this. This is going to be the greatest election. Thank you. This is going to be the greatest election ever. It's going to be the greatest ever. And it will be the most important day in the history of our country. But together we're taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. And in conclusion, it doesn't matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals are, these communists and fascists and wherever the hell they come from, nobody even knows. And some are homegrown and they're right here in our government and you've seen plenty of them. I say the enemy from within and the enemy on the outside. I think that frankly, the enemy from within is more dangerous to our country than China and Russia and others. I feel that. Because if you have a president that knows what he's doing, he can handle China and Russia. But these people are crazy. And the enemy from within is very dangerous. Criminals that nobody can believe, and we will take care of business. We're going to do the right job. We're going to be fair to everybody. We're going to do the right job. And our revenge, you know, they say, oh, this is a revenge tour for Trump. It's not a revenge tour. Revenge is going to be our great success. What we're going to do is success. We're going to have such success that it's going to turn that word revenge. There's not going to be any revenge. We're going to make this country so successful again. It's going to be so successful. That will be our revenge. That's going to be our revenge. This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right. It's your God-given right, and you're going to have it. From La Crosse to Kenosha, from Greenfield to Green Bay. Green Bay, we love Green Bay. And from Madison till Milwaukee, we'll see you in a little while in Milwaukee. We inherit the legacy of Wisconsin patriots who have braved incredible dangers to carve out a life in a vast and beautiful and wild frontier. We stand on the shoulders of American giants who crossed the oceans, explored the continent, settled the Great Plains, won the Wild West, laid down the railroads, those great, great railroads, raised up the incredible skyscrapers, conquered the skies, fought 2 world wars and won decisively, mastered spaceflight, and made America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. So sad to say, we are in trouble. We are a failing nation. We're a nation that has lost its confidence, lost its willpower, and lost its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it's hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. You're going to save our country. We're all going to save our country. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. And we will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media. We will drain the swamp. And we will liberate our country from these tyrants and villains once and for all. Like those patriots before us, we will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield, we will never give in, we will never give up, we will never, ever, ever back down. With your support, we will go on to victory, the likes of which no one has ever seen before, and we will evict crooked Joe Biden, the worst ever, from the White House on November 5th, 2024. It is the most important day. The great silent majority is rising like never before, and under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Wisconsin. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. What a crowd. What a beautiful crowd. A lot of people outside. This is a beautiful arena, but a lot of people outside. We appreciate it very much. This is great. Hello, Wisconsin. How are you, Wisconsin? It's great to be back in this beautiful state, and it is indeed a beautiful state. It's beautiful, with so many proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. As you know, we'll be holding our convention in Milwaukee just a few months from now. And we can't wait. That means you got to vote for us because we're spending our money in your state to have the big convention. We had lots of options, and we're coming here. You remember last time, did Biden even show up? I don't think he showed up, right? I don't know. Somebody said he did show up. He was wandering in the parking lot just to make it appear. He said, where am I? You're in Wisconsin. Where's that? But we love Wisconsin. I want to thank Wisconsin GOP Chair Brian Schimming for doing a fantastic job. Where is Brian? Where's Brian? Hello, Brian. Good job. Great job you've done. I hear the numbers are very good, Brian, right? That's because that's the only thing that matters at this point, right? Okay, thank you, Brian. I think we will. My former chief of staff, a really great guy who loves your state very much, Reince Priebus. Reince. Where's Reince? Reince Priebus. Everybody had a hard time with that name. We don't have a hard time with that name anymore. After years of that name, we have no problem with it. Thank you, Reince, very much. National Committee woman, Mary Pat Kruger. Mary Pat, thank you. We just met backstage. Thank you, Mary Pat. And your county executive, if you take a look at Paul Farrow, a great person who's done a fantastic job. Eric Severson, your sheriff. We're not going to mess. Where is Eric? I saw him backstage. He's central casting. I'll tell you, every sheriff should look like Eric. And a special guy, the greatest purchaser of advertising in the history of the world, Mike Lindell. Nobody buys ads like him. Thank you, Mike. With your help, we're going to win Wisconsin this November. We're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. And we're going to make America great again. And it ain't so great right now. It's a laughing stock all over the world, including our colleges, universities. Look at what's happening to our country. And our border. You know what? Some people say they do the colleges so you get your eyes off the border. I said that last night. We're not talking about the border. Millions of people are coming in. Millions of people. And we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. But they're not talking about that now. They're talking about colleges and universities, people that have gone astray. Last week, we saw numbers showing clearly that the economy is crashing with the GOP growth plunging by more than 50% just in this quarter alone. Think of that. We're plunging. We're now in a Biden stagflation. You know what stagflation is? You know what it is? It's the worst. It's worse than inflation. It's worse than deflation. It's the worst. And we're in stagflation right now. Congratulations, everybody, which spells the death of the American dream, and that doesn't even include some of the horrible numbers that we're seeing flowing in from the poor and crime-ridden countries all over the world. They have people flowing in from the poorest and the heaviest crime countries all over the world. Congratulations. They come out of prisons. They come out of mental institutions, and they're coming in to be a neighbor right near you. So congratulations. I don't know how. I think Wisconsin probably, you're very open-minded toward that, right, Wisconsin? Are you open? I don't think so. No, it's terrible. What's happening is terrible. On top of all that, Biden has just declared that if he gets 4 more years, he will drench the middle class in the largest tax increases in the history of our country, vowing repeatedly that he will ensure that the Trump tax cuts, the biggest tax cuts in history, and he says, oh, it's for the rich, not for the rich. It's for companies that employ people, and it's for the middle class. And the people that benefited the most are lower income people. They're the biggest benefit, and he wants them to expire. He'll never be able to replace them. It'll mean that you had the biggest tax increase in the history of our country, so I don't think we're going to let it happen. I don't see any way. If he wins, well, they're trying this weaponization of the Justice Department stuff. So far, that hasn't been working too well because we have the highest poll numbers we've ever had. People get it. But what it all means is under Crooked Joe, a single individual earning $75,000 a year will pay almost $2,000 more in terms of just the tax hike alone, and a family of 4 earning $165,000, that's a lot, dollars a year will see at least $3,000 more added onto your taxes, which are already high. 73% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. That's the highest number ever recorded. Think of that, what that means, though, paycheck to paycheck. So what does that mean? You get fired, you lose your job, you get sick, and you can't live? This is the highest number ever. It's up at a number nobody ever thought they'd see. Yet Crooked Joe Biden wants to raise taxes on top of that and raise business taxes, which will lead to the destruction of your jobs. And it's, you know what, ultimately it's just going to lead to the destruction of the country. We have so many negative forces on this country. Uncle Sam is right here. Look at him. You are perfect. This guy's the best. He's like a perfect Uncle Sam. He goes, we need you. That's right. Thank you, Uncle Sam. Get up here for a second. Look at this guy. Wow. He's in good shape. He's in good shape. Thank you, Uncle Sam. Look at this guy.
So that's when you signed that law.
I'll sign it. I'll sign it for you. Yeah. He asked me to sign it. I said, you're going to make a speech here, Uncle Sam. Good-looking Uncle Sam, though, huh? Give me a pen, somebody. Let's get Uncle Sam taken care of. Come on. Give me a pen. I got to get a pen. Let's go. Yeah, good. Just throw it up there. Give me a pen, please. You think Biden can bend down like that? I don't think so. Where's Uncle Sam? Here's your pen back. Thank you. Uncle Sam. You got it, man. Oh, that's nice. Secret Service. Secret Service doesn't love that stuff. Do you understand? They're not in love. They're looking like, what's he doing? Don't do this. But it's Uncle Sam, right? He looked good to me. But with me in the White House, we will protect the Trump tax cuts for working families. We will make our middle class stronger, bigger, better, stronger, wealthier, and more prosperous than ever before. We're going to do it quickly, too. It's not going to take a long time. You know, one thing, I was there. I know the good people. I know the bad people. I know the smart ones, the dumb ones, the ones that think they're smart. The ones that don't think they're smart and are smart. I know them, too. You got all different types, but I got to know them in 2016. I didn't know anybody. At 20, I learned fast. I know everybody. I know them better than anybody. The Biden job numbers are fake. He's counting people coming back from work. Remember, when we had the pandemic, people left, and they'd say, come back in 2 months, 3 months, when this thing goes away, come back. He got those numbers, and he tries to add them on. You call them, do you know what they call them? Part-time, they call them fake numbers. They call them bounce-back numbers. You know, it's a bounce-back, automatic. If this young gentleman right in front of me were president, he'd have a bounce-back. They'd say, oh, they were just our numbers. It's an important thing to know, but a lot of the numbers on that just came out on immigration and on employment were illegal immigrants. Almost all of the numbers were from illegal immigrants. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? The illegal immigration that's being taken care of better than the people that have been in the country that are desperate for jobs. But when I'm in the White House, the Biden economic bust will quickly be replaced with the Trump economic boom. We're going to replace it. We'll replace it quickly. When I left office, we handed Crooked Joe the fastest economic recovery. It was the fastest recovery, think of this, economically, ever recorded. The stock market was at a record high. The price of gasoline was $2 and even less than that a gallon. Think of that. We had periods of time where it was $1.57, $1.87. How does that sound to you? But under $2 a gallon, the 30-year mortgage rate was at a record low, the lowest ever recorded, $2. Think of this, 2.65%. That's what your mortgage rates were. Now you can't get a mortgage. If you want to pay 8 or 9%, you still can't get them. And we had no inflation. We had no inflation. We had the greatest economy in history. This is everybody said. This isn't me. This is everybody. We had the greatest. We had no inflation. Today, your inflation's so high, it doesn't matter. If you make money, it doesn't matter. It eats you alive. Inflation is what they call a country buster. You go back 200 years, 300 years to countries with inflation, they got busted. Ask Germany, how is inflation many, many years ago destroyed the country? It is a country buster. And we have record horrible inflation. And now it's getting worse. And now they think they're not going to be able to cut interest rates because it's getting worse. You don't hear that. And they don't talk about it. And the fake news, these people right over here, they don't want to talk about it, but it's getting worse. But then Biden came in and unleashed mayhem on our economy, just like he unleashed mayhem on our border. The border, there's never been anything like this, a border like this. There's never been anything in the world. There's never been a border like this in the history of the world. Using COVID as an excuse, crooked Joe Biden launched the greatest confiscation of middle-class wealth in the history of our country. It's middle-class wealth. He confiscated it. In 3 years, Joe Biden and his party stole trillions of dollars from hardworking Americans and gave it their political, and he gave it all to their cronies in Washington, their heirs-to-be. He gave so much money away, and the Green New Scam, it's the worst scam in the history of our country. They spent $2 trillion, the Green New Scam, the greatest scam in history. They spent $2 trillion on their so-called American Rescue Plan, which wasn't rescuing this country. How is the rescue plan doing? Trillions of dollars wasted, which Obama's economic advisors called the original sin. They actually called it. His advisor said that was the original sin that led to rampant inflation. That's where it began. They spent another $1 trillion on their misnamed Inflation Reduction Act, and then they admitted it really wasn't meant to reduce inflation. They call it the Inflation Reduction Act. Remember when a certain senator said, I'll approve it, and that was the end of his career? I won't tell you his name was Manchin. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was the end of his career. He was popular. He was getting more and more popular. He started out not so popular for many years. Then he became popular because he was rejecting all of this madness. And then for some reason, he agreed to sign a couple of things that were not good. And it didn't work out too well. $1.2 trillion for their fake infrastructure. He had a package of infrastructure. You take a look at it. It's fake. It's fake and it's horrible. And then all of that money, again, going over to the Green New Scam. Joe Biden's economic plan is to make China rich and America poor. My economic plan is to make America richer than ever before. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. With your